The Question by Percy Bysshe Shelley, 1792 to 1822. I dreamed that as I wandered by the way, bare winter suddenly was changed to spring, and gentle odours led my steps astray, mixed with a sound of waters murmuring, along a shelving bank of turf which lay under a copse, and hardly dared to fling its green arms round the bosom of the stream, but kissed it, and then fled as thou mightest in a dream. There grew pied windflowers and violets, daisies, and those pearled Arcturi of the earth, the constellated flower that never sets, faint oxlips, tender bluebells, at whose birth the sod scarce heaved, and that the tall flower that wets, like a child, half in tenderness and mirth, its mother's face with heaven's collected tears, when the low wind its playmate's voice it hears. And in the warm hedge grew lush eglantine, green cowbind, and the moonlight-coloured may, and cherry blossoms, and white cups whose wine was the brightest dew, yet drained not by the day, and wild roses and ivy serpentine, with its dark buds and leaves wandering astray, and flowers azure, black and streaked with gold, fairer than any wakened eyes behold. And nearer to the river's trembling edge there grew broad flag flowers, purple pranked with white, and starry river buds among the sedge, and floating water lilies broad and bright, which lit the oak that overhung the hedge with moonlight beams of their own watery light, and bulrushes and reeds of such deep green as soothed the dazzled eye with sober sheen. Methought that of these visionary flowers I made a nosegay, bound in such a way that the same hues which in their natural bowers were mingled or opposed, the like array kept these imprisoned children of the hours within my hand. And then, elate and gay, I hastened to the spots whence I had come, that I might there present it. Oh, to whom? Okay, this is a poem by Shelley, Percy Shelley. Percy Shelley was one of the great romantic poets. He was born in West Sussex. I think his father was a lord and a member of Parliament. Now, Shelley was a radical, both in poetry and in political persuasion. He went to Eton College and he went to University College, Oxford. He's one of the great romantic poets. He was expelled from University College, Oxford for writing I think it was a pamphlet or an article about atheism, and how atheism was the only way that that was reasonable to be. After that, he married Harriet Westbrook, who was 16 years old. I think he was 20 or 21. Anyway, the marriage did not get on well, and finally he left her for Mary Godwin, who later turned out to be Mary Shelley, the writer of Frankenstein. Anyway, he was with Mary Godwin, Mary Shelley, and after some years, his wife Harriet actually committed suicide, and he then married Mary Godwin, Mary Shelley, who was actually the daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft, one of the earliest feminists. So after that, he went to live in Italy. Spent a lot of time with Lord Byron. He was also a friend of John Keats. Finally, he died in a boating accident, aged 30. He was sailing in a boat that he'd had made, and he and everybody in the boat was drowned. So the question is, what is the question? Well, it's about a dream. It's about he's describing a dream, and he's walking through this beautiful garden which is full of the most fantastic plants and flowers, and this isn't actually it doesn't represent the garden. It represents the world of imagination, the world of artistic imagination, and the imagination is full of all these beautiful, wonderful flowers, and you can these flowers come in all sorts of colours, and then finally at the end he picks a bouquet of these flowers. I think that's a poem that he's written. It's a metaphor for a poem that he's written. And he then says, I'm going to give this to somebody, but who? And this then raises the question of who is art for? Who is poetry for? Who is this the product of his imagination for? I think until the poem is written or the art is created, then I don't think it really needs to be for anyone. I think art for art's sake. But he's wondering who his poems are for, who his art is for. And I think his imagination is beautiful because it's beautiful. It's the way flowers are beautiful. Flowers don't grow for anybody. Flowers grow because the conditions are right and the poetry appears. So I dreamed that as I wandered by the way, bare winter suddenly was changed to spring. So he's walking, and it's winter, and suddenly the season magically changes from winter to spring, and it's suddenly spring, and gentle odours led my steps astray. And they're beautiful smells, and these beautiful smells are leading him off the path, mixed with a sound of waters murmuring. So, and there's the sound of a river, there's the sound of a stream. So he's walking through a dream, along a shelving bank of turf which lay under a copse. So there's a bank of grass, and there's a copse, several trees all together, and hardly dared to fling its green arms round the bosom of the stream. So the trees just touch the stream. So he's dreaming of all of these different places. This river that's beside a shelving bank of turf, and there are trees, and there are trees that they look as if they're going to hug the stream, but they don't. They just kiss it, they just touch it, and fled and ran away again. So they just kiss the water and then run away again, as one might in a dream. So here he's in this dream. There grew pied windflowers and violets. So the windflowers are anemones. So beautiful. Pied means two colours, and normally anemones are black and purple, or black and red, or black and white and red. So pied with different colours, and violets, daisies. So they're anemones and violets and daisies. Those pearled Arcturi of the earth. So Arcturus is a star. So he's calling the daisies the stars of earth. Because a daisy, it's this yellow centre with these white petals. The constellated flower that never sets. So this is a flower that comes in constellations of daisies, but it never disappears during the day. It's always there. Faint oxlips. Okay, this is a little yellow flower. Tender bluebells, at whose birth the sod scarce heaved. So they're beautiful bluebells that barely moved the earth when they came up from under the earth. And that tall flower that wets like a child, half in tenderness and mirth, its mother's face with heaven's collected tears. So here we've got a tall flower, and this tall flower is like a child which drops dew, which cries in tenderness on its mother's face. So there's this tall flower that is dropping dew onto the earth. When the low wind, its playmate's voice it hears. When its playmate, when its friend, the wind blows past. So we've got this idea of a child which it cries when it hears the voice of its playmate, or a flower that is bent over and dropping dew. When the wind blows it, it moves it and it drops dew onto the ground. And in the warm hedge grew lush eglantine. So the eglantine is a rose, is a briar rose. So in the hedge there are wild roses. Green cowbind. Cowbind is bryony. It's a creeper. And the moonlight coloured and the moonlight coloured May. Okay, so it's got bryony and the hawthorn flowers as well. The moonlight coloured May, the mayflower. Mayflowers is the hawthorn, which is white. And cherry blossoms and white cups. And cherry blossoms and flowers with a white cup whose wine was the brightest dew. So little white cup-shaped flowers that are full of dew, yet drained not by the day. And normally these little cups, if there is dew disappears as the day comes, as it gets warmer, but these are still full of dew all day long. And the dew hasn't evaporated yet, it hasn't gone. So we've got this hedge with these roses and bright and climbing plants and hawthorn flowers and cherry blossoms and cup-like petals full of dew and wild roses and ivy serpentine. So ivy, which is climbing round and round everything, with its dark buds and leaves wandering astray. So yes, ivy has these very special buds and leaves, and it goes everywhere. And flowers, azure, black and streaked with gold, fairer than any wakened eye beholds. And they're these beautiful blue and black flowers that are streaked with gold. These are now imaginary flowers. These are more beautiful than anybody who's awake could see. These are only a flower that you could see in a dream. Yeah, so they're blue, black and gold, and they're just more beautiful than any flower you might be able to see in a dream. And nearer to the river's trembling edge there grew broad flag flowers, purple pranked with white. So near the edge, so he's now by the river, and near the edge of the river, in the river, there are these huge purple irises, with little splashes of white, with pranked with white, adorned, decorated. This is an old-fashioned meaning of pranked. So these wide purple irises and starry river buds among the sedge, and there are these little flowers that grow in the river grasses, in the marsh grasses. Sedge is a type of grass, so there are types of grass along the very edge of the river, into the river, and these have got these tiny little white flowers. And floating water lilies, broad and bright, and there are water lilies on the water, which lit the oak that overhung the hedge. Okay, and there is an oak tree which is hanging over a hedge at the side of the river, and it's hanging over the water lilies, with moonbeams bright of their own watery light. And there are bright reflections. They're bright light which is reflected back onto the oak tree. So there's this oak tree hanging over, and the light is reflected off the water onto the underneath of the oak tree. And bulrushes and reeds of such deep green as soothed the dazzled eye with sober sheen. And there are bulrushes and reeds, but these are a very, very dark green, and these are something to calm your eye, to soothe your eye with, because you've had all of these bright dazzling colours of all of these bright flowers, and now there's something that gives a contrast, that makes a beautiful contrast for all these flowers. Methought that of these visionary flowers I made a nosegay. So I made a bunch of flowers of all these imaginary, these visionary flowers, and I put it together in a way, bound in such a way that the same hues which in their natural bowers were mingled and or opposed. So he's got all of the colours, they're either mixed or contrasted with each other. The like array kept these imprisoned children of the hours within my hand. So he made this beautiful bunch of flowers, trying to get the flowers in such a way that the colours were contrasted as they were in nature, and like that I could keep these children of nature, these temporary fleeting beauty, to keep it within my hand. And then elate and gay, then I was filled and happy, and I hastened to the spot whence I had come. So I ran back to the place where I had come from, that I might present it, so that I might give this my bunch of flowers to someone. But who? Who should I give it to? So this is really the question. Who? To who should I give this to? We've got this beautiful garden with full of flowers. This is poetic inspiration. It's like this, like a dream of all of these beautiful flowers beside a river. And he's looking at all of this beauty, and he's choosing a bit of beauty here and a bit of beauty here to make this bunch of flowers, to make his poem. So he's saying that the imagination is a source of inspiration, that in the imagination all of these beautiful flowers grow, and all you have to do is to imagine them, and then suddenly you can create new worlds, and you can walk through this world, this world of imagination. And there are all of these different flowers with different colours, and they are different visions. And then as an artist, you just pick the bits that you want and put them together to make it into something even more beautiful. And you're using your imagination to make beauty, and this is really what art is it's the beauty, is the power of the imagination. But then we've got the question, and this is the question of the poem: but who is this for? There is no limit to the creativity, but who is this creativity for? Why is it made? Who is the audience? And he takes great delight in gathering this bunch of flowers. But I think at the end of the day, it's just the creativity that comes out of him, that it is that he is making these beautiful things because it's pleasurable for him. It's art for art's sake, and if there is somebody who wants this bouquet of flowers afterwards, that's all well and good, but it's not made for them. It's made because it's something that is beautiful. So, The Question by Percy Bysshe Shelley.